Welcome to the City Council's December 9th special City Council meeting. This is a teleconference meeting with City Council, city staff, and members of the public participating remotely to ensure proper social distancing in this federal, state, and local emergency. So we will proceed to roll call. I'd like to introduce staff and City Council members present. Councilmember Kat Carlton, Councilmember Betsy Nash, Councilmember Ray Mueller. Staff present include City Manager Starla Jerome Robinson, City Manager Starla Jerome Robinson, City Clerk Judy Heron, and we think that City Attorney Carcera Silver will be joining shortly. Mayor Taylor is absent for this meeting. So, City Clerk Heron, would you please provide instructions to the City Council and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Thank you, Vice Mayor Combs, and again, echoing the welcome to our special December 9th City Council meeting. At this time, we ask that the City Council remain on screen for the duration of the meeting, controlling your own webcams and cameras. The staff will engage webcams to make presentations and respond to any questions that the City Council may have. For members of the public, if you wish to speak on an item on the agenda after the Vice Mayor calls for public comment on that item, please engage that hand feature in the top right side of your screen. That will alert us that you have a public comment. I'll have the opportunity to open up your microphone and you may address the City Council at that time. I'd like to also direct your attention to the handouts on the right side of your toolbar there. You'll see the agenda where there is a link to all web form public comments received for items on this agenda. That concludes my introduction. Vice Mayor, you may continue.
Thank you. Next, we'll see if there is a report out from the closed session earlier today. I think the city manager will let it. Oh no, the city attorney will let us know if there are any report outs.
Thank you. There are no reportable actions that were taken at closed session today.
Cool. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to regular business. Under regular business, the City Council considers recommendations from city staff on policy matters or administrative actions that require City Council approval. And the only item under F, regular business, is the City Council direction on holiday tree lighting. So I think it's either staff or Councilmember Mueller who will tee up this item for us. Councilmember Mueller.
Yeah, so I'm happy to tee it up again. So what's happened is there's been a number of residents who've reached out and said, are we lighting the holiday tree this year? I asked our city manager what the cost would be to light the holiday tree in Fremont Park and Annette Harris. Response was $40,000 and it could be done starting December 13th. Brought the issue to you all to see whether or not that would be something you'd want to do. I personally support doing that. I realize that we made a number of budget cuts this year, but we have not, it's not an either or in my circumstance and whether we do this or do something else. In our city council meeting last night, for instance, we approved aid for those who were being affected by waste and water. We approved packages to help our small businesses. We've done, I can't think of a time during this pandemic where we've said, we're not going to do something because we really need to save that $40,000. I think taking $40,000 for the reserve fund from this to go ahead and really help people's mental health during the holiday season. We have a change in circumstance since this item may have come up later for discussion, and that's that we know now that there is a very strong possibility the governor is going to be locking us in shelter in place. That's been told to us, that we've been warned that that's probably going to happen to us in the next week and a half. That is a serious impact on families who are being told they can't travel more than 150 miles from Menlo Park. It has a compounding impact on those in our elderly population who won't be having people come to visit them. We do know within the shelter in place that people are still being encouraged to go out, to go for walks, to put themselves in the outdoors, to enjoy to enjoy that mental break, and during this holiday season to see that holiday tree and remind themselves that they are part of a community who is celebrating and that they are a part of, I think is a lift in public health. I think that's an appropriate use of our funding. It's hard to quantify the effect on mental health, but I would respectfully say we really haven't made an allocation specifically for mental health reasons. We've looked at small businesses, we've looked at rent, we've looked at things like that, but we haven't actually made an allocation specifically to try to lift the spirits. And I do remember early on in the pandemic, what we said was, wouldn't it be great if we could come up with something like they're doing in other places where we would sing, we would like bang drums or put candles and windows or do something like that to create a sense of community. Here we have a very specific thing that we can do that the community looks to and enjoys every year as a tradition in our city for the last 8 years. And to have that go dark this year, when in fact our council was searching for something to do early in the pandemic, I think would be a mistake. So for that reason, I brought this item forward this evening, and I hope it finds support. I know there'll be critics who will say, well, you could do something with that $40,000. Yes, we could, and if you know what we should do with it, bring it forward, because we haven't said no to something yet saying that there wasn't $40,000 available. So with that, I go ahead and yield the floor.
Can't hear you.
Thank you. I'm used to turning my mic off. Thank you, Councilmember Mueller, for that setup. Councilmember Carlson, I did want to sort of go early in this process to public comment, but Councilmember Carlson, if you want to chime in, please go.
Sure, I agree with everything that Councilmember Mueller said. I just want to add on the only thing he didn't say, and I don't mean this in a Machiavellian way. I mean this in a further way of creating community. Lighting the tree is also an anchor event, an anchor thing. Hey, let's go down and see the tree in downtown Menlo Park. While we're here, oh look, I actually need to buy some tennis shoes. Let's pop in the store. Oh, I love that thing we had at Drager's. Let's go shopping. It's also a way of encouraging people to go downtown and support our downtown shops, in addition to the psychological aspect of supporting the community. So to get very practical here, but pragmatically, it also furthers our work and our intentions to support our downtown businesses as well.
Completely agree. Thank you for completely agree. Thank you for bringing it up. We were going to spend a lot of money to beautify the downtown for those parklets, and it's an excellent point, Councilmember Carlton.
Okay. With that, let's go to public comment. City Clerk Karen, are there any public comments on this item?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So at this time, if any member of the public wishes to speak on item F1, City Council direction on holiday tree lighting, please engage that hand feature in the top right side of your screen. I'll have the opportunity to open up your microphone and you may address the City Council at this time. This will be the final call for public comment on item F1. Do have one hand raised. Pam Jones, if you would like to unmute yourself, you may address the City Council at this time.
Yes, good evening, Pam Jones, Menlo Park. Thank you, Vice Chair Combs and council members for bringing this up. Just as a reminder, there are no activities over at the Onetta Harris Senior Center area, so the tree there would not be viewed unless you let people know that it was there, and that would have to be done through the city outreach. And along that lines is you need to be aware that even if it wasn't a newspaper, we're receiving no newspapers over here. So there's no other way than direct communication from the city for this area to know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Seeing no further hands raised, Vice Mayor, you may continue. Thank you.
Councilmember Mueller.
I just want to say I love the comment by Miss Jones, and I actually think it'd be a wonderful thing if once the trees were lit, there was a blast that went out citywide that said the trees are lit and here's where they are, and we're a community. You know, I think that would be something that would touch every household in every part of the city to say these are hard times, but there's some place that you can go as a community. So I actually love the idea of putting out a blast all over the city telling folks they're lit and here's where they are, Onetta Harris and at Fremont Park. So I think that'd be a wonderful, joyous text for residents to get.
I'll sort of chime in. I know I was the one who was interested in us actually sort of taking this item up separately and individually, and it is you know, not a major issue, but something I have struggled with because I think the money is not insignificant, and obviously we are in a budget constrained environment, and one in which, of course, as a result, we've made not lots of significant cuts, and so what is the message that gets sent, or again, what is the actual value, not just the message that gets sent, but what's the actual value that gets imparted by doing this, and I think I've sort of landed on that. You know, there is value to traditions, right? To doing things that remind us of you know, certain times of the season, that reminds us of holidays, that reminds us of people in our lives. And so while I think mentally I 100% share every of the concerns that I know Councilmember Nash mentioned yesterday, and I can't disagree with him. In fact, I can't disagree with him because I agree with them all. But I do think that there is that sort of that value that gets imparted that it's hard to put like a dollar figure on, and so in that sense, again, like I don't you know need to, I don't know if we need to sort of belabor the point, but I think I'm leaning towards supporting the proposal, and so would support you know, a motion if it were made in that state. But Councilmember Nash, certainly want to give you the opportunity to chime in.
Pardon the interruption. It does look like a City Council member Nash ran into some technical issues. She is attempting to rejoin now.
So that's all I had to say. I guess we'll wait and see if Councilmember Nash can rejoin. I mean, since we're waiting for Councilmember Nash, could someone on staff maybe come on and to the point of sort of communicating out that Ms. Jones mentioned the concern about it being communicated that the trees are lit, and that Councilmember Mueller expanded on. Give us some sense of how that might be done. Is that feasible?
Yes, I think it is feasible. I mean, we do have a bank of emails. Our own Clay Curtin has been working very hard to create a sort of wealth of emails, which we're using for a number of purposes by district. And so we could certainly use all of those. So it's all of the water customers. In any customer contact we have has been included. And Clay could be more descriptive about that, but we can do a citywide blast, and would love to do that. Would love to send out that joyous message.
Councilmember Carlton.
Sure. Just to let you know, we're also experimenting. We were contacted by a company who makes apps for the phone, and so we have an app now made for Menlo Park, where you can download the news about what's happening in Menlo Park, news about the events, and it also has a pretty thorough list of all of the codes and laws and things, so that when people are interested, it's an easier way of finding it than going through the website and more convenient on your phone. And as people adopt this, it will be a lot easier for them to click to report problems in the city, as well as for us to push out messages to their phone without having to go through the traditional SMS. So it's not finished, but it's in beta right now. So that will be another very convenient way of communicating with people as well throughout the city. You can download it and play with it.
Well, thanks for that information. I didn't know that.
Yeah, for the record, I haven't seen it yet, so.
It's very beta.
Okay, but Clay Curtin informs me that we're going to start promoting the app tomorrow. So you heard it here first.
Cool.
What are you doing?
Sorry, family stuff going on.
I thought that was Kat's kids. Okay.
No, we have a rabbit. My daughter never leaves a room anymore.
So Betsy is trying to just call in from her phone. She's having some computer.
So, well, while we're waiting, maybe I could just correct some incorrect information I gave you yesterday. I think there was a question during the council's discussion as to whether the city owned the lights or whether we were renting them. And I thought we were renting, but we actually do own the lights.
Great.
But we don't have the equipment to get to the top of the trees, and really the putting the lights in place is a very extensive and time-consuming process. So that's why we contracted out. Okay. Are there any other questions that I can answer? And if not, I'll just.
Would it make sense to have Betsy call in on the number? I understand the computer doesn't work, but there's a call-in number for join webinar, and that might work.
Oh yeah. So I did send her the call-in phone number as well as the webinar ID. So hoping that she'll be able to just call in.
Okay, and so then one last piece of information, the Library and Community Services Department is hosting a virtual Home for the Holidays event at 5 o'clock on Friday, this Friday, and the details are on the city website. It's featuring The Grinch, A Holiday Elf, and crafts. So if you're in the holiday mood, you should feel free to join in.
Thank you for your patience, Vice Mayor, City Council. I have Betsy on my phone, similar to what I did yesterday for Kim Novella's public comment. So Betsy, if you're able to just say a couple of words to see if this will be effective.
Well, I am here. Can you hear me? Is this working?
Okay, I am seeing nods. So I'm going to I'll leave my camera on while Betsy is with us as her proxy and allow Vice Mayor to continue. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so at this point, Councilmember Nash, we were the floor was to you to share your thoughts on the proposal.
So Councilmember Nash, are you able to hear?
No, I'm not able to hear.
Try getting really clear. Okay. So Vice Mayor Combs, if you can just repeat yourself, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, just at this point, and you know, we were hoping to hear from Councilmember Nash on her thoughts with regards to the proposal to light the Christmas trees, or to light the trees.
So Councilmember Nash. One moment, Councilmember Nash.
Thank you.
City Council, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Good, thank you. Go ahead, City Councilmember Nash.
Thank you. So my concern is that I believe that we need to preserve our financial resources. This is a really difficult season. I think that we very well may need this money next year. I see this as a prolonged economic downturn, and we don't know what is ahead. And so I unfortunately do not support this because of the finances. I am also concerned that having the trees lighted may encourage people to gather and spread COVID. So that is where I stand. I would have more to say if I could see everybody and see everything, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, thank you for those comments, Councilmember Nash, and yes, sorry for the technical difficulties that we couldn't hear more fully from you, but certainly I think the gist of where you stand, which is similar to what you expressed yesterday, I think is definitely clear. So and I don't have, again, anything additional to say. I don't know if either Councilmember Mueller or Councilmember Carlson wanted to say something additional or make a motion. Councilmember Mueller.
Yeah, I'm just going to respectfully make a motion at this time to go ahead and approve the city manager to go ahead and spend $40,000 to light the holiday tree, both in Fremont Park and at Annetta Harris. And then also to do outreach to the city to let them know that the trees are lit.
Councilmember Carlton.
I completely respect Councilmember Nash's concerns, but I think that this is one of those times where we make an investment in basically quality of life, sanity, as well as all the other reasons mentioned. I wish we had done it earlier, is my only regret, but I'm happy to second the motion to do it now.
I'm sorry, I can't actually see anything, nor raise my hand, but I'm wondering, can I ask a question?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you. So is what is being proposed to light the tree at Fremont Park as opposed to the tree at Ravenswood and El Camino, which is more centrally located. And what is the rationale there?
It's more expensive to light the trees at Ravenswood and El Camino. And I also believe Fremont Park attracts people to our downtown and our small business restaurants there. So for that reason, because it's much more expensive to light the trees at Ravenswood, I would go, the motion is for Fremont Park and Onetta Harris. So, and I think that is, I also note that the tree in Fremont Park is in a place where people can stand. It's a park. And then Onetta Harris, it's a place where people can congregate. There's a community center there and grounds. The Ravenswood location is best viewed by car. So, and at this point, I think it'd be a destination that people would actually walk to, as has been advised by the governor's staff for mental health breaks.
Thank you. Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor by City Council Member Mueller, a second by City Council Member Carlton, to approve the city manager entering into an agreement and spending $440,000 to light the Fremont Park tree and the tree at Onetta Harris, as well as notifying the public of the holiday tree lighting. Is there any further discussion or questions from the City Council? And just double checking with City Council Member Nash.
No more questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So by roll call vote, City Council Member Carlton.
Aye.
City Council Member Mueller.
Yes.
City Council Member Nash.
No.
Vice Mayor Combs.
Yes.
And the motion passes with City Council Member Nash dissenting and Mayor Taylor absent. Thank you.
Thank you, City Clerk Karen. So that's, and also, while I have the floor, thank you to Councilmember Mueller for bringing this back up, for being responsive to, at least from what we were hearing from some residents. And again, like I said, my support is strained a bit, but I appreciate that you were responding to what you heard in the community and brought it to council for discussion. So thank you for that. Unless there's some.
I was going to say thank you, Vice Mayor Combs, and I realized that it was a split vote, and I respect where my colleague was on the split vote. But I do hope that it's something that now that we've all like voted that it's happening, that we can celebrate it. So it's one sliver of like of happiness that I hope that we celebrate. So thank you.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything, Councilmember Carlton?
No, I think it's a wonderful thing to do. It's a great tradition to keep going. And I trust that people will remember it as COVID and behave appropriately with their masks when they visit the parks.
Okay, right. Well, with that, I think we can adjourn. Is that correct, City Clerk Karen? Let me, please feel free to correct me if we cannot adjourn.
Yes, we are able to adjourn at this time. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.